It's Sunday, July 10th, 2022. This is All About Your Benjamins in your weekly mixtape and weekend review video. Hope you had a great week. Gonna apologize real quick for some of the background noise you're gonna hear. Maybe a little bit of wind getting picked up, some basketballs in the background, the boys playing. It is way too beautiful of a day to not be recording outside, so we'll put up with the background noise to be able to be outside and have a little bit of nature in there as well. Let's get to the headlines that may or may not be impacting your financial plan and portfolio. And as you can see, as we come back after a couple weeks off of the mixtape, we got a number of headlines, but really not a whole lot of new things to talk about. So we should be able to get through these pretty quickly. First and foremost, we're going to start off with the jobs report. In June, we added 372,000 new jobs, which is more jobs coming in. We know that the job market is pretty competitive right now. Still not enough people to fill all of the jobs. But we also have this unique setup where there are certain areas of the economy where people are getting laid off. A lot of tech companies. I was talking to a friend of mine when we were in New York last week, and he was saying that he thought more layoffs were going to be coming as the recession comes into being identified, if that's where we're really going. So maybe we're going to see the jobs market getting a little worse and some layoffs coming on, but right now we're adding jobs. The second article from CNBC is just, I put in there more for the visual to see where are the jobs coming in. So we've got healthcare and professional services leading the way. Interestingly enough, government is where the only decline in jobs were. So I just thought it was kind of a cool thing to see where are the jobs coming from and show that graphic. Inflation obviously is another big one. Everybody's feeling it. We're seeing it. This article talks about how in the last month's Fed meeting, when they raised rates more than they originally said they were going to do at the beginning of the year, the whole reason behind that was trying to beat inflation, which we already know. There's a quote from Chairman Powell a little while back saying that he was comfortable putting us into a recession if that meant keeping inflation intact, or not intact, but under control. So we don't want to see that recession. We might have that recession. Again, recessions are normal. If I had to bet, I think we're already in one, but it may not be the recessions that we're used to. Recessions have a definition tied to them. Some people say it's the consecutive quarters of GDP decline. There's other metrics out there. Nonetheless, we're seeing areas of the economy where things are slowing down. So inflation is going to continue to be a topic, but we are starting to see some signs of it cooling a little bit. We've thought maybe we saw a peak in the past, but it continued to go up. We're going to get the next reading this upcoming week, but oil has fallen below $100 a barrel, at least at the time of the article and me recording. It could be back up before we know it, but that'll be a huge relief. But it's driven by supply and demand. Demand for gas is going down. Demand for oil is going down, which means if supply stays the same, price is going to go down as well. So that'll be a psychological win for everybody if we can see it go below 100, and then also see some of the gas prices at the gas stations come down as well. So we'll see where that goes. Now, we also are getting into summer where more people are going to be traveling, especially with air being as disastrous as it is right now, flying. More people may be driving, which I don't know what that'll do to the supply demands of it, so we'll have to wait and see. I mentioned we've got a new print on inflation coming up this week. We also have earnings seasons kicking off, so we're going into a period of time where we might see volatility after a calmer week come back. And a little commentary about the market. We talk about these forces that are there, but the summer tends to be a little bit more volatile anyways, because you have traders who are taking vacations. They're going off and they're away from the floor, they're away from trading. So we might see more moves. And what ends up happening is sometimes we see this volatility, but it's happening on lower volume, meaning there's less shares trading, so it's moving more volatile, but it's not not the same as when the market's operating at normal levels. Now, to be honest, I've never done a lot of research to see if that's really true, if that's just a story that we say, kind of like the sell in May and go away adage. But nonetheless, we're going into a time where we're going to get some news about inflation. We're going to have earnings, some big names coming out, and that could move the market one way or the other. I mean, it will probably. Again, that's all short-term moves. So if you're a long-term investor, this inflation print and also the earnings coming out should not impact your long-term plan or what you're doing for 15, 20, 30 years down the road, or even 2 or 3 years down the road. So now we get to some articles that have nothing to do with the economy, just some interesting things. Elon Musk, the world's greatest troll, is deciding to try to get out of his bid for Twitter. So the $44 billion Twitter deal, he's trying to get out of it using some loopholes. So this will probably go to the courts. We'll see what ends up happening. He's supposed to pay $1 billion to break it, but we'll see if the Twitter board allows him to do that. and what the end result of this is. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. This is more of theater and kind of more entertainment than anything. It doesn't change anybody's lives. So nonetheless, it's a headline that Elon Musk keeps himself in the news. And then finally, the latest Minions movie, The Rise of Gru, I think is what it's called, is smashing records. I bring it up only because not only is it a good movie, we went and saw it last weekend, but the thing I want to highlight is if you haven't seen it, do some searching and look at the kind of social media influence that's been on this movie. If you haven't seen it or haven't heard about it, there is a director who has directed a bunch of hip-hop videos, Cole Bennett, I think is his name, and he was able to get this up-and-coming artist by the name of Yeet, which I have to give Roman credit because he told me about Yeet a while ago, and as a true hip-hop lover, I don't get behind the music, but nonetheless, they were able to get the rights and the okay to create basically a TikTok video for the movie using Yeet as the soundtrack for the video. And it basically blew up and went viral, and now you have all of these teenage kids going to the movie dressed up in suits, acting like little minions, and they're buying up tickets in 15, 20 seat bunches. They're all going, they're being a little rowdy, but nonetheless, it's kind of cool to see how social media can unite all these kids to come through and see this movie this way. It's actually pretty funny. We went and saw it. Leo dressed up in a suit. It was by himself. He wasn't with a bunch of friends. He came with us, but he had on his little suit and sunglasses, walked in like everybody else was walking in, and tried to get to be a part of that story and that movement, even if it was just by himself. So if you haven't seen the movie, it's a good one. We're big fans of Minions and Despicable Me in our household, and it was a good movie. But I wanted to highlight it because of the power of social media, the power of TikTok, and what can happen when things go viral. That's helped the sales greater than anything that and whoever it is that does the video could have done on their own. So does the movie could have done on their own. So it's pretty cool to see how you can use social media to drive a lot of business if you know how to do it right and have a little bit of luck. All right, so that's it for this week. Hope you had a great week. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, all those great things. Don't forget about my other creative venture doing on the side, Pursuit, prst.co. A lot of great content going on over there if you're looking to take your life and make more of it and follow your passions and kind of create the life that you want. There's a little bit of All About Your Benjamins that sprinkles over there. Sometimes Pursuit finds its way in here, as in the graphic that I put every week in the mixtape. But don't forget about checking that out as well if you have interest in that topic. So with that, have a great day. We'll see you all in the next episode.